Ladies and gentlemen, I am back with the good old classic slideshow. Now in this video, I am back with 3 ways to double your profits when selling beats online. And seriously, this could do more than double it. It could triple it, but I have a very strong belief that at minimum, this can double your profits with selling beats online. So hey, do these please. All right, do yourself a favor and do these things for your beat selling business. Now, I want to make this clear. I will not be talking about bulk deals at all in this video. We've talked about this more than enough. You should always do the buy 2, get 1 free instead of buy 1, get 1 free. It's the easiest way to double your profits, but we've talked about this more than enough, so I bet a lot of you guys are already doing that. So I just want to tell you right now, this is not one of the tips that we're going to cover. It's essentially a dead horse nowadays. It's been covered a lot. You should know to do this. And it shouldn't be in the videos anymore as a new tip because I've talked about it so many times. Now, the reason I make all of these videos is, could you guess it? It's because a producer asked me this exact question that I'm about to show you guys. So the producer said that he was making about $500 a month from selling his beats online, and he wanted to know how he could get more from the customers he had already gotten, because simply he wasn't getting a lot of new customer acquisition from other social media channels. He was doing a lot with like messaging artists on Instagram, and he was like, it's a lot of work up front, and I want to know how I can get more on the back end. I'd stuttered there for just a second. It's still a little bit early in the day. But anyways, he was like, yo, like I'm getting all these people up front, but it's taking a lot of effort. How can I get more from just this one person on the back end recurring sales side of things? So I decided, let's make a video about it. As always, you guys should know by now, if you want to learn more about marketing, and marketing is something that really interests you, and you want to learn more about these actual ways that you can market your beats online, please check out the free masterclass given by Robin Wesley that is linked in the description below. And as always, I usually put these testimonials up here with screenshots and whatnot. So here are just some recent testimonials we've got from guys in the course, in the Discord. These are all from April 5th and 6th. So literally, what was that? About a week ago as of recording this. So this couldn't be more relevant than ever. So you guys can pause the screen and read these if you want. Like I said, without a doubt in my mind, this is the course that will give you the best chance at selling beats online. And also linked below is our Discord that anybody can join nowadays. It's just we have some restrictive access and channels for our CCS students. And also every month I do a $25 gift card giveaway for our CCS students as a way to give back to you guys. So now let's get into the video. Now, as you guys may have caught in earlier, I was talking about how this producer who asked me the question should be focusing on his existing customers. So I think we first need to establish, why is there such a strong focus on existing customers? And hopefully to many of you guys, this should be obvious, but it's very simple logically. If they have bought before, they will probably buy again. Now, I also want to say, if you yet to have your first customer, keep on watching this video, because once you do get your first customer, you're going to want to start doing these things and knowing what to do, so that way you can squeeze the most out of every single person you get to become a customer. So now the first tip is going to be within your email list. And I know a lot of times we talk about email, it gets pretty broad. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, in this one, I've got probably a little too detailed, so bear with me here, because I was having some fun writing this one up. So, recently I interviewed Dilly and Matthew May. Dilly has surpassed almost $1 million in beat sales from just uploading type beats to YouTube, which is insane. And Matt's made about more than 150,000, I think, in the past 2 years, so still pretty insane numbers. Dilly has him beat by a good bit, but still pretty insane numbers, right? Now, combined, they have almost made $1 million combined. And also combined, I'm pretty sure they have sent out no more than 10 email campaigns as of all last year. And it might even be as low as 5 combined. So these guys are not utilizing email at all, which is insane to me. These guys are leaving an abysmal, a disgusting amount of money still left on the table. This isn't to air out Matt or Dilly. This is simply just to let you know that it doesn't matter what level you are on. This mistake is seen to be made by a lot of people no matter the level of their success. I'm sure there's producers out there, I know there's producers out there who are using email marketing correctly, but I know that's a very small percentage. So now with this being all said, and not just to be like, oh, use your email list. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. How do we actually utilize our email list to get customers to come back? And also, I'm not just gonna give you the answer of like, just send out a weekly email. See you next week. Peace out. Let's get into it. So the first tip, tip A, is to use proper segmentation when talking or when emailing your email list. So segmentation is the way to personalize how you send out emails to people, because even though we're using an email marketing software to automate this process and send out one email to a lot of people, we still need to make sure it's personalized, or we still need to find ways to include personalization so that way when somebody reads it, they're not like, wow, this is a straight up sales email to get me to buy a beat. This should be an email that feels personalized to them and also makes them feel like they're connecting with you. Not something of like, hey, here's 5 beats, go buy them. No, we need to use personalization, and we need to format this email and really use email in a way that doesn't come off salesy. So we'll get to this in a few more slides. I don't know the best way to say that because we're going to talk about it soon, so I'm just going to keep on going here. So when it comes to segmentation, you guys may think that this is kind of extreme, but you want to word your emails differently based on if someone is a customer versus if somebody is a non-customer. I know that sounds pretty extreme, and that sounds like a very minute detail, but that plays a huge role in how somebody reads your email when they open it, and that personalization factor that needs to be in the email. And actually in tip number 2, I'm gonna give you guys an extremely important example that I kind of came up with. And I think it'll make a lot more sense when you understand this personalized proper messaging in tip number 2. So with using email, we have tip number B, I guess. This is kind of getting confusing, but what I say is keep these people happy and keep the door open. Now, let me expand on that. So like we just talked about with segmentation and personalizing your emails, a really good example of this is Robin's holiday email funnel. This is the exact funnel template we give to our students for using the holiday emails. Also, by the way, Easter is going on this weekend. Do you have a holiday email sale going on at all? Something to think about. Now, this is something that we can go more in depth some other time to talk about, but when it comes to the holiday email sequences, right, everybody, every company is going to be taking advantage of that holiday to send you an email. So what Robin does, and this is in the template, is on the day of the holiday, the email that goes out to your list literally contains no links, no promo codes, no nothing. It's just simply, like a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Easter sort of email. That's it. No links or anything. Now also within this email, the wording changes and different emails go out to people who are customers and people who aren't customers. And like I said, in tip number 2, I'll show you why that means so much. But I just want to show you guys, like, segmentation is super, super important. And also just keeping the door open, right? Even if you have literally no links or nothing to a beat store, no promo code during this one email of the many emails of the sales campaign on the holiday, it's just to say happy holidays. Like I said, this whole sales series is a lot more strategic and you can learn about that in the course, but let's get going on to tip number C of the email list. So with tip number C, I guess, which still sounds super weird, is you're probably making beats weekly. Especially if you're grinding the YouTube game, it might be daily. So what we need to do is you need to find a way to inform your customers while not also coming off straight as a sales pitch, which is a balance that you have to find, but it's actually a pretty easy balance, and let me tell you why. So recently, Dilly was out in LA for like a music production trip. I don't know the whole backstory about it, but I was texting him and he was like, yeah, I'm out in LA right now. I'll get back to you later. We're doing some music stuff. I was like, okay, cool. This would make a freaking gold of an email, right? Tell your customers, hey, I was just out in LA doing music. This is why, this is what happened. It was a super cool experience. Anyways, here's the beats we made. I just put them on my beat store, right? So you're taking that story and you're still having a sale to go with it, or a reason for people to go to your beat store. Because if you just say, hey, here's 5 beats I made this week, that's an email. But when you have that whole story to it and you can like tell people like why you were there, what was going on, what was that experience like, right? It brings a lot more energy to that email, and someone's like, yo, that was super awesome, blah, blah, blah. Like, let me hear these beats, right? It gives people a reason to hear those beats then because there's a story to it. So essentially what you're trying to do is find a way to incorporate your life into these emails that you send out weekly to your list. Now, with that being said, I know I just said Dilly went out to LA in these fancy studios and whatnot. That makes a really good email. But Ryan, I didn't do that. I had a really boring week. I went to work. It was my girlfriend's birthday. It was my kid's birthday or something, right? So what I want you to remember is that although you may not be going to these flashy LA studios or having these extravagant trips and fun things to talk about, there's still stuff happening in your life that you just need to open up and let people know about. And it'll create a much more better value and relationship with these customers. And the most important thing that I want you to remember is a lot of the people on your email list probably aren't doing music full time. They probably are going through the same exact struggles that you are. Let me know if this sounds familiar, right? You're working a 9-to-5 job and you struggle to find the time to balance your music, right? Talk about that in your email. So many producers, so many artists can relate to what I just said, and it's because they're not doing it full time. You know, so off the top of my head, I'm thinking like, hey, like talk about your job this week. Talk about like one of the ways that you try to manage your time. And how doing that, I was able to make these 3 beats. You know, hey, like how also as an artist, you know, do you have a job? And if you do, how do you manage that time? Anyways, though, don't forget about these 3 beats I made this week. I put them on my beat store, something like that. Definitely needs a lot more work in there, but you're making a story of like, hey, here's 3 beats I made this week. You're actually telling more about your life and what went on. So don't just say like, hey, here's 3 beats. Try to put more into it. Because I guarantee you might think your life's boring because you work and you struggle to find time, but that's something a lot of people can relate to. Now, obviously, you don't want to rinse and repeat this every week, but you need to find these talking points and think about what goes on in your life and just start opening up and talking about it. Like, don't be afraid to put your personality out there, especially because this is how people are going to emotionally want to connect with you, is if you open that door and reach out that arm and kind of make yourself vulnerable to people, because that's when people are going to start trusting you. And I could go on and on about this, but you need to establish trust, especially with a customer. There's probably already a layer of trust there because they've already given you money. So if you can extend that trust and build a greater trust, they're gonna keep on coming to you for beats. Now, the one thing I wanna say about this is do not forget that you can provide value by conversation. And let me explain what I mean by this. Have you guys ever talked to somebody and been like, wow, that conversation, not worth my time at all, right? And because it wasn't worth your time, you're like, I could have been doing something else that was more valuable. So what you just said is the time you spent in that conversation was not of value to you. See exactly what I'm saying now? So when somebody actually reads this email and learns about your week, and you start up a conversation about some sort of topic that maybe they can relate to or something going on in your life that they have dealt through before, when you can spark that conversation and you can maybe talk more about life itself, you can talk more about balancing music with your life, right? When somebody can spark that connection and get that going with you, they're gonna be like, wow, that was such a good conversation to have with you, man. Like, this was really eye-opening to me, or at least I felt like I'm being more understood myself. People are gonna be like, wow, that was worth my time. Like, I got something out of that. It might not have been of knowledge or tips, but just overall a better feeling of like, I'm not the only person struggling with this, right? This can go so much deeper in so many different ways. But essentially, every conversation you want somebody to have with you, you want them to leave and at least not think, I'm never going to talk to that guy. That was a waste of my time. That was not valuable at all. You do not want people to think that when they talk to you. Now, the second tip we're going to talk about today is retargeting ads. Now, with retargeting ads, you can retarget people who are customers and you can target non-customers. It's all depending on how you want to set them up within Facebook ads. And I would say Facebook ads is the best to retarget on just because it's Facebook and Instagram. And I mean, who does not get on either Facebook or Instagram, right? Probably not a lot of people do not not have those apps. But what I'd recommend you do is when it comes to retargeting these people, customers and non-customers, just like your email, you want to segment that out so you can personalize that message to someone. Now, one of the reasons that you want to split up this retargeting and kind of segment it out in Facebook is because you want your customers to see the ads, although they're ads, you want them to see the ads and the message, and you want them to fully understand that this message is 100% directed towards me as a customer. Now, let me give you guys an example of why this segmentation is so crucial, right? This is all digital, but let's go physical, right? Let's say that you moved to a new town and you found this small little taco truck, all right? So let's say that you start going once a week and the owner is the guy who takes your order and makes the tacos. Cool. So this guy is seeing you come in every week. You know, he's taking your order, he's making your order, he's handing it to you, he's seeing your face every week. Now this guy, he always has a smile on his face. It's getting to the point of where he remembers your order, you're becoming a regular, and he's always making small talk with you. And so you're pretty much always leaving like, hey, that was fun. That was a cool experience. I love that guy from the taco truck. Is essentially what you're doing, right? So I guarantee you, because you're having this positive experience, one, you're gonna tell others about this taco truck and you're gonna recommend it to other people. And you're gonna continue to come back because just this small talk, just him remembering your order, this is so weird to think about. Like, don't get me wrong, this is extremely weird to think about. Like, we're surpassing everything about selling beats right now, but you'll see the point here in a second, is you're strengthening your relationship with this owner and his taco truck. Once more, a really weird example, I totally get that, but I think this example will kind of open your eyes of why segmentation is so important. So now, let's take the extreme opposite example, right? So you go to the taco truck every week, and this guy just never seems to acknowledge that you're always coming back once a week to support his business. He never makes any small talk with you. You know, it's kind of like, dude, I'm here every week, and like you just kind of ignore me. Like you don't seem to acknowledge the fact that I'm here every week. Once again, this is kind of like a weird thing to think about, but it's just like a social thing. Like if you go to the same restaurant and have the same waiter every week, you become a regular, and it's just like this social customer courtesy that they're like, hey, you're back again, you know, how's life? Like you develop a relationship with that person because you see them so often. It's super, super weird. I totally get that. But I want you guys to understand that this is like a really small, minute detail in business that can really make or break a business on getting people to actually return and also refer people to your business. All right, so with all of my psychology class out of the way, the main point of retargeting ads and also the whole email is you just want to stay top of mind to these people. And also retargeting your customers, it's gonna be pretty cheap. Like something you can run for like $5 a day and you're gonna be constantly showing up to them. And staying top of mind is such a crucial aspect of this whole process because an artist isn't going to be buying beats every week year round. Like it's just not possible that one person is going to be supporting your business for the whole year every week. So what you need to do is you need to find a way to keep that communication going of just, hey, how's life going, right? There's some times where you just need to send out an engagement email just to kind of reel them back in and keep those retargeting ads running because it's such a good way to keep you top of mind as well. So like I said, whether this communication is one-sided or two-sided, it's just good that you're top of mind to these people. So that way, when they do need beats, they know exactly who to go to. So the third tip is by using license upgrades. And this is something that nobody really has ever talked about before. So let's get into it. Now, for most people, they would only need to upgrade their license, or they would even really think to upgrade their license when they go over the usage limit, or they feel like they're very close to going over that usage limit. Like if somebody's song blows up on Spotify and they're like, oh shit, I need to get my license like upgraded, that's when they're gonna do it, right? But a way that you can make more money from your customers is why not try and have them make that decision earlier, such as literally after they just purchased the beat from you. See if you can get them to upgrade to a higher license, to get more usage rights, to get the stems for the files, right? Think about the ways that you could do that to get them to spend more money. I mean, this is a way you can potentially have somebody go from like a $30 MP3 lease to a $100 premium lease with stems, right? And that's $70 in that example that you just made from one customer. And all you did is you changed the licensing rights. And they got more usage rights, they got maybe different files with the stems now. But overall, you really did nothing. but it's a huge W for your profits. Like I said before, this is something that I've never seen anybody else talk about, and we do actually do it in our course, and I'll even give you a screenshot of one of the emails in the sequences of trying to get somebody to upgrade their license. So, you know, it's probably best you don't just copy and paste this. You definitely want to add some personalization to this, but if you want to see the whole setup, it is in the course with how we handle the license upgrade, how the actual flow works after a purchase. And also, if this is something that you do try to go set up on your own, which is something, I mean, you can go and do, just remember that you want to segment this out so that way if somebody purchases a more expensive lease, you don't want them to receive the message that says, hey, you just purchased a basic license, right? You should upgrade. That's going to be terrible, right? Imagine that you just purchased the most expensive license on a producer's beat store or a product in general, and you receive an email that says, hey, you bought our most basic version. You should upgrade. You're going to be like, wow, this business sucks because I just spent all my money on this and they just ignored that I did that. And so it doesn't really feel like your value that you gave them is being reciprocated back towards you because they couldn't get their email automation set up correctly. So it's just a bad look for the business. So if this is something you want to set up on your own, go for it. Be cautious. Don't copy and paste that email down to the freaking word. Try to put your own personality into it. And like I said, if you want to see how to do the whole setup, the whole flow, it is in the course. But with all those being said, those are my 3 tips for you guys today. I'll catch you guys in next week's video. As always, we have the free masterclass linked below, given by Robin Wesley. Peace out.